In your 20s, forget about trying to find a perfect job. It's a decade of experimentation. Then in your 30s is when you start to realize...
Welcome back to Wise and Shine. I'm your host Reggie, aka your Chief Financial Coconut.
This is Eric, Mr. Positivity.
And this is Dawn, who's still in her prime. So today we're going to talk about, can you still succeed even when you're past your prime? Thank you, Michelle Yeoh, for a really good quote at this year's Oscar.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead, host.
She inspired this episode, right?
Yeah. And we also want to ride on her coattails.
Her dress, you mean? Her dress.
Yeah, of course. Yes. Okay. So yeah, I think in her speech and, of course, a lot of the subsequent discussion, there was definitely a lot of discussion on like, oh, she's so old already, huh? And she still, she continued to make progress. Whether or not you think the Oscars is success, that is up to you, but I think in her prerogative, it is, okay?
In that industry.
Yeah, in the industry, it
Yes.
is, okay? So, yeah, I think that's why we wanted to talk a little bit about like, can you succeed even as you age? Or is it increasingly harder to succeed as you age?
Yes.
So definitive, okay, end of topic, next.
It makes me feel like I gotta say no, but there is conditions, of course.
Like what?
First of all, if I look at it from a macro point of view, it doesn't matter whether you're young or old. As long as you're still alive, you have the potential to be successful.
Oh, so inspiring.
I mean, it's true, right? If you're alive and you keep working at it, you will eventually be successful over time. Look at KFC, the founder of KFC, Kentucky, right? Yeah, he was only successful when he was in his 60s. Michelle Yeoh would be another example. So I'm sure if today we ask our listeners to cite someone who is past their prime, whatever that means, maybe after 60, but is successful, I'm sure we can all find examples.
Yep.
So if you look outwards and look for evidence, there is example.
But it's very hard.
But
It's
it is...
survivor bias.
Yeah, true.
It's survivor bias because we
True,
only
true.
talk about the success case. I mean, I did a whole podcast about the failed entrepreneurs, right?
Okay, so that's my point of view, that I would look outwards to see that, hey, you know what? There's evidence of success.
That's why he's Mr. Positivity and you're not.
Yeah, I'm
Because
not.
your focus is your reality, right? if you
Oh wow!
focus
So you think
on,
I focus on negative?
I don't know, but I believe in that whatever you focus expands. So if you keep looking for evidence of successful people who are in their 60s, it reinforces your belief that it is possible. And what you say to yourself matters, because if what you say to yourself is you can't succeed, then you are right too.
And I think that's why Michelle Yeoh win was so powerful. Because for people who cannot do that for themselves,
It's evidence.
she is the evidence, and
Yeah.
she's a good reminder that, ladies, don't ever let anyone tell you that you're past your prime. Wow, I love that statement, man.
Yeah, love it.
Wait, but y'all don't feel like it is? I mean, I want to dive deeper into the whole like it gets harder, because I do come from the school of thought that I think it gets harder. But of course it depends on which sector you're in, right? But let's expand a little bit.
No,
Like,
I think every sector.
okay. Tell me more.
Because I think we cannot discount the fact that youth really gives you a lot of privileges.
It does.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, there's the usual argument that, it depends also on your industry. Like, if you're an actress or actor, then when you're younger, your looks matter more. But I think also if you look at salary, right, the younger folks don't have as many bills and liabilities to pay. So they're also more willing to do work for free or to give really discounted rates and hence get more of an opportunity with clients where budget is an issue. So there are all these things that you cannot fight them with when you're old. Yeah, plus there's also that whole, to be honest, when you're older, okay, your health really does change. Your looks change, your health change, your stature changes, and these can affect. So it is harder, but I think the biggest thing that makes it the hardest for older people to succeed, hard doesn't mean difficult or impossible. No, hard doesn't mean impossible, but it is difficult. It's the perception that others have and the chances you're given when you're older. So like if you're a CEO, you're a boss, right? Why would you hire someone who's older and who commands a much higher pay when you can, hire like 5 youngsters with the same amount of budget? Unless you want someone really, 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 really skilled. But I mean, the reality is a lot of the people in their 40s and 50s, they get retrenched, right? They are really at the peak of their career, very highly skilled, lots of experience. They get retrenched because their salaries are just too high for the companies to pay already, and they would rather pay someone else. Or pay more.
Okay. So I think underpinning that idea, right, there's a texture here. There's a texture of like how good are you in what you do.
Yeah.
Right? There's a fundamental texture, right? So the first if we break that down further, if you are creme de la creme of any industry,
Then
okay,
it really
that means
doesn't matter.
you're
Yeah.
really good, right? I don't think this will be a very big concern for you.
It will still be.
Really? You feel so?
in terms of the money.
No,
Unless you are your own boss.
let's be clear, right? When I hire, or if and when I hire, it's not just about the cost of the hiring this person, right? It's also a lot about like what do they bring to the table. And if they bring to the table more than just like skill sets, right? Or like more than just getting things done, right? Then I will not value them the same as
Correct.
someone
So
that
it's a value exchange,
yeah,
right?
yeah. No,
But-
when I say value them the same, in the sense that because if someone comes in with a lot of experience and a lot of connections, right, they got insights that I don't. Because I'm new in the space, they are way more ahead. The way they look at things, they know all these people, right? I cannot value them in the same output as like send out emails, or like create this content or write this editorial. No, it's not the same.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But you
Yeah.
see, the thing is that you only can afford the older, more higher skilled, more valued kind of hires when you have more budget. And the
Yes, yes.
reality is there are more companies in numbers with lower budgets than those with higher budgets. Hence, the number of opportunities you get exposed to is different. We can argue non-stop about the quality of the opportunities and how you act on them and translate that. That's a whole different spell for another day. But the number of opportunities, that's a whole different story already.
Fair. I do agree with that. So in that sense, more people are fighting over a smaller pool, right? Because the same bunch of people will continue to age together. Your cohort lah.
Yeah.
Like we age together, but the opportunities for us that meet our quality of life or meet our expectations gets into an apex, right? And it shrinks and shrinks and shrinks. So it increasingly gets harder for older people to succeed. That's the idea.
Exactly. And I think also youth, right? One very big advantage that I had when I was in my 20s, which I didn't realize until now that I'm past that age, right? Then I didn't
you're not there yet lah.
notice that. I know I still look like I'm in my 20s. Okay, but the truth is it's time. In my 20s, I had no liabilities. I had no one to be accountable to. It's like I'm just dating my boyfriend or my husband, but no kids, no parents who have really become your dependent and don't say burden lah, but the truth is still a burden, right? So you don't have that huge responsibility yet. And hence you're free to do whatever you want. You're free to go and take chances, do work for free, go and travel around, go and do a lot of things because you have time, which the older folks don't. And that was a very, very big advantage because you can use that time to upskill yourself, do more than other people and hence justify your value, build your value. But if you're older, how to find all this time? Even if you got time, no energy also, right? Less energy lah.
I feel that regardless of whether you're young and old, there will always be resistance to success, right? There will always be things that will prevent you from being successful. Like when you are young, you may not have the connections, you may not have the wisdom, the experience, the time, but you have a lot of time, energy, and health.
Yeah.
And then when you're
looks.
older, right, you may not have the health and the energy, but you have the money, connections, wisdom, and experience.
And the mastery.
And mastery.
As per our last episode, so remember to catch that episode. We'll link in the comment below.
So I feel it's all about stacking up the odds. It's stacking up. So I do admit that yes, as you get older, that the environment will always play a part in resisting your success, right? Some environment would be would want to help, will be more pro older people. Some environments might be pro younger people.
But there are less for the
Yeah.
pro
So if we
older
go
people.
with that train of thought, then that's true. Then yes, it is getting harder. But I think that if the older people are in that position, then we really need to learn how to play to our strengths.
Yep.
Which is to leverage on whatever experience and wisdom that you have. What I'm most afraid of that will cause an older person to fail is actually not the environment. What I worry for older people is two things. Number one is their mindset. That what kills a person in the area of success, it's not their age, but it's whether they have a
always the
fixed mindset or a growth mindset.
Yeah.
So if I have somebody who is in their 60s, but they have a very growth mindset, that I'm constantly learning from the young people, and they are willing to challenge the way they think and challenge the way they do things, they will constantly adapt to the new world, then they will never be out of a job. But if an older person is so fixed on this is the only way I do it, and last time I'm very successful because of that, then they are the one that will suffer.
I think also we must acknowledge the budget does count lah. You can be an old person with a growth mindset, but can you accept a $500 intern salary versus the 20-something who has no responsibilities?
And that also depends on whether when that person was growing up, did they get good financial education, right? Because if you think about it, if they already start learning in their 20s, watching you guys, learning from you, they would have already have a very good retirement fund.
So I guess if you're already taken care of, then yes, you can fight on the budget. But I think the reality is that most people are not. Financial literacy is still something fairly new. And we are unfortunately in that, situation whereby Singapore does have an aging population. A lot of these people are not in a very financially strong position. Anyway, some people are very financially savvy, but then later on they gonna scam.
Also,
all gone.
yes.
Right? So you cannot accept that $500 salary, even though you were savvy, you build up your skill set, but you gonna scam, so now you have to go back to work and you just cannot fight because you have a mortgage, you have something to pay off,
Fair.
and the
I
other
do
person
agree with
doesn't.
I guess the one thing that we can all agree on is when a person gets older, the amount of time they have left is lesser.
Yeah.
It's absolute.
And the energy is also lesser. Do you feel like your energy reduce over time?
Yes.
I feel that my body can't catch up. It's true.
It's like mentally you want.
Yeah,
I want.
you want.
Why they want that thing,
you're
there's
still
that thing,
passionate.
but I'm like,
So that's why as you
That's why
get
you need
older,
Next to Senji
Good
and
plug, Tin,
exercise.
They need to sponsor you.
Plug my product.
I gotta send the invoice to her.
So my take is still this, that if you choose to think it's harder, there will be evidence to justify that it's harder. And my
You will
take is
find evidence
you will
that
find
justifies
evidence. So my
it.
take is forget about trying to find evidence because you'll find a lot. The key is to make sure that in your mind you see yourself as a winner and you see yourself that regardless of whatever it takes, I'll make it happen.
I
And
must
when you come
caveat
from
lah.
that angle, I feel that the chances of you succeeding will be a lot higher.
True. Just now I say no so definitively, right? But there's a about lah, okay? And one thing that I feel the older people have over the younger, you take away all the negative things that I say, we still hold.
It holds.
but
It holds.
it's the power of compounding. And I'm not talking about money,
Wisdom, is
budget
it?
pay. Yes, it's wisdom,
Everything
it's skills,
compounds.
it's knowledge. You really become a master in your field. Of course, the only problem is if your field changes. You are a very master bank teller, then you cannot replace by
There's an
ATM, then
assumption
sorry,
also, guys. There's an assumption. A lot of times we think that old people are wise. It's an assumption.
Yeah, true.
Because
Some are not.
because you might have a lot of experiences, but if you're not constantly reflecting on your experiences and learning from your experience, then you are just essentially fixated.
And I guess also like how open-minded you are even as you age. Like if you are not, you understand that your way work, but could there
In the
be
past,
a new way
yes.
now? Yeah, and you work to find out what are the factors. You unearth the peel off the layers to find out what are the factors that differentiate this method versus your
Correct.
method.
Which means that if you have a growth mindset and you're constantly working on your skills to clock that 10,000 hours that Malcolm Gladwell talked about, then if you are older now, actually by default, based on all these things, you have a fighting chance. But if you haven't been working on those things, then being old just actually reduces your chance.
And also the financial part. I like how you guys made me realize that all my talk and objections about budget, right, that could have been easily solved if the old person had been more financially prudent and savvy in their younger years, plan up. Then when you have you can fight with the young person on everything except budget. Now that no longer even becomes an objection, but only if you had planned for it.
Yeah.
But I will argue that it's a seasonal thing because like if you grew up in the 80s, the money that you accumulate as compared to like living in today's world is very different.
Also different,
Right.
correct,
So
correct.
it is a multifaceted thing. Yeah. But I don't broadly disagree. And I want
What's your take?
Yeah, actually, I want to echo that point about like the myth of being old, in the sense that a lot of us assume that you're older means you're wiser, right? But the base premise is if you're older, you fundamentally have more probability of getting experiences, right? But whether or not, or what you derive as a result of these experiences, the wisdom in your head, right?
Yeah.
Is a world of difference. Right?
Which is why you all need to listen to Wise and Shine because we help you
today
to
you keep
overcome
plugging,
that
right?
You have to be
difference.
wise.
Yeah.
So that you can shine in your old age.
Yeah. No, but I think a few interesting points. Of course, the first point is I do believe that odds are stacked against the older person, especially if they don't keep up and evolve over time, right? And I know keep up sounds damn derogatory, right? But the
it's
young
reality.
people are also trying to keep up. Okay.
Yeah.
So
we're all just keeping up different things.
we're all just trying to make it work, right? So I think that's the idea. So we must organize collectively, blah blah blah. All those things are important, but you're not the only one keeping up. Everyone is trying to keep up. So there is inherent difficulty in doing that, but there's also a very there's also a different view on like how as you age, right? Actually, your probability of success when you enter a new venture or when you enter into a new business or I would believe entering into a new sphere increases. Because of all the connections that you have, the insights that you have, the nuances that you have, the shortcuts that you develop as you move along, it does increase your probability
That's the
in
power of
those one.
compounding.
Yeah, that's the power of compounding. And actually there's quite a few reports that suggest that, right? Like how everybody assumed that the Silicon Valley startup founder is like young and because that's a media narrative, right? If you're 40 years old and success, okay, not bad. But if you're 25 and success, then what's that like dash?
As long as you're not a Sam Ryman.
Yeah. And what's that guy's name that cheated the Forbes 30 under 30?
The FTX, is it? The FTX
No,
CEO?
Dash Laha or whatever. There's this one guy that cheated whatever, like you, I know it's you. Okay, yeah. Hey, I hope you're enjoying Wise and Shine so far. I'm your host Reggie, aka your Chief Financial Coconut, and for us to continue to do this show so that you become a tad bit wiser every week, you gotta like, share, subscribe, help us beat the algorithm. But even more importantly, if you can, comment in the comment section below. Let us know your thoughts and also some questions that you would love us to answer. Yep, now back to the show. So, but actually, the report suggests that a lot of the very successful founders, they start in their 40s and 50s. Because they have accumulated so much insights on how the processes of the sector works, right? That they know, okay, this one can change, this one we can shortcut, this one we can do this, blah, blah, blah. They got all the people and they got all their friends that are working in the competitor company, right? That once they raise money, they can just hire the whole flock of them in, right? So there is that part, but the reality is in the brute element of working, that means like how much hours you can clock, how many articles you can write, how much, I think you will generally lose out to the younger person.
I think also what you said was very spot on, right? But it comes with a very big caveat, which is you need, as long as you are the one in control of creating that reality for yourself. If you're the employee and you're subject to the budget of your employer, then sorry, you are naturally going to have less. Your compounding knowledge and skills may not be valued as much as they are. But if you're the one in charge, you're the creator, you're the entrepreneur, you're the one who dares to try, you don't even need a huge budget to start a business depending on what you start, right? Especially now with the internet and all. But if you can make out that with skills and, you just go forth and just try and everything is on you. You own the power. It's not you give someone the power to say you're out. You are the one in charge, right? I think that's where the compounding effect can really be felt. And that's where these startup founders in Silicon Valley who are much older can succeed because they're the one in charge of their own destiny.
Yeah. No, but I will argue that even in corporate structure, which I think that's where a lot of our listeners will be, right? The idea here is you cannot compete the young people on brute output.
Yep.
They can do 50 calls a day, you can do 10. Correct. Right? Or they can do something, you do less. The general idea here is you are stacked against the reality of the human body and your limited amount of time.
Which is why I feel that we need to play smart. I remember Jack Ma said something that was really, to me, it was really, really wise. He said there's a season for everything. He said that when you're in your 20s, forget about trying to find the perfect job. You find yourself the best mentor ever. In your 20s, it's not about deciding what is your destiny in your future. You do not know, you're still young. Follow the mentor, learn everything that you can, pick up different skills. Is a decade of experimentation. Then in your 30s is when you start to realize in your 30s, you start to realize that, okay, I kind of get a sense of what I want to work on. 30s is where you develop your skills, your experience, your network. Then when it comes to your 40s is where you start your venture and you're focused already. In your 40s is not an experimental state because you're already married with kids, you have liabilities. 40s is when you already know what you're good at, you stay focused and play the game of mastery. 50s is a decade of mentorship actually. That in your 40s, you build your empire, you're successful. In your 50s, you help the young people in their 20s become successful. 60s, forget about business, go spend time with your grandchildren. They're the best period of your life to enjoy life.
What if you don't have grandchildren?
Then he didn't explain, right? But I thought that was a very good model, right? That what he's implying is that when you are young, it's a great time to adventure, to experience, to self-aware. But as you get older, the expectation is that you should already know kind of what you're good at, where your strengths are, and to stay focused. Because when you do that, then the chances of success will be a lot higher.
And
I
I would
love
actually
that framework, man.
Yeah, I mean, and I would actually double down to say that, right? I have worked with different entrepreneurs, and like some of the entrepreneurs that come out in their 40s, right? That means they come into their sector as an entrepreneur in their 40s, right? They damn sharp one.
Yes.
Yeah.
They don't have hala with you one. They
Yeah.
don't go for what networking lah,
No.
eat pizza lah,
Network's
forget
done
all
already.
that
They already
shit.
got the connections.
I'm done. I know what I want. I know there's a gap here. I've already created something. They're very sharp on it. Right?
I think
If
one
not, they
big
will not
thing
do
that
it. If not, why would they even
differentiates-
come out and do it?
Yeah, one thing that differentiates those in their later ages when they start, right, versus if you start in your younger ages is imposter syndrome. You don't feel that anymore because you're so confident. You're so
And
sure.
You are sick and tired of caring about other people's opinion
Exactly,
anymore.
exactly. But when
it's
you're
a 40s
young,
thing.
when you're in your 20s, you're like, later they judge me and
And
all
that's
that.
okay.
That really affects.
Yeah. But your
so it's
mentor is there to
normal
help you. Yeah.
if they have a good
So you're
mentor.
in your 30s?
I mean, I'm
I'm not sure.
30.
Yeah, so
18 only,
you are
just-
still...
18, forever.
Okay,
18.
forever 18 looks, but experience-wise 30s, right? Which means that according to
30s.
Jack Ma's world, actually this is still a period of development for you.
Yeah, I like to think that I'm following the 40s, which is building my empire now.
That means you kind of fast speed.
Because
what do you call fast track?
I declared on my blog I want to retire at 45, right? Later I don't hit it, then later people judge me.
But faster you retire also good. The faster you retire, faster you can mentor people. Ma.
Correct. I
And
want
it
to
gives
move
you a
on to
different-
other stages.
And see, once you become a mentor, you're also successful, but you're successful through your mentees, right?
Yeah.
Who has the energy, all the good that we don't have, but we have all the good that they don't have.
Actually,
It's
which
a
I'm
synergy.
already starting. to mentor people. So if you want to join me, you can come and
So
okay, you know,
sweet.
later I
Yeah,
get
especially in your
invoice, ah.
20s.
I'm
Look,
gonna send her
right?
an invoice today.
If
right?
they are in their 20s, they look for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay, fair. So then so I think for our listeners, right, a lot of them will be like somewhere in the 30s.
Oh, development
you know,
stage.
Yeah, or like maybe young 30s or mid 30s. That's most of our listeners, right? So what will you tell them then if they are concerned like, I'm stuck here, I'll never break through, I will never
Still can.
I will
30s
yeah.
is still where if you trust your instinct, like if you feel like I'm not having a breakthrough, move on, build. The key thing to understand is to, in your 30s, build your wealth, build your connection, build your experiences.
And then later on, you'll all
Because
come back.
40s is where you build your empire with whatever that you have. So your 30s is accumulating your resources. So you don't have to feel stuck in one place. You don't have to build your resources in one place if that place doesn't celebrate you or doesn't give you what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, because I think the idea here is, what if they just want to work in an organization, right?
Then
But
just work
they
lor.
want to like move up the organization. You know what I'm saying?
But
Then
it's
just work
fine.
hard lah.
That work hard because you see, moving up is just a game. Moving up is the game. It's the reason why you can move up is because you have accumulated a certain experience, connection, and wealth
Mastery.
and mastery. That's why you move up. So the moving up is just to help you keep score, but it's not the moving up that matters. What matters is that the reason why you can move up is because you are all those things which you will use later on.
I want to change your question. I think very boring to give this to the 30s. The point here is the older ones, right? So I think for the older folks who are like, 50s, 60s,
Who miss
they-
their chances, eh?
yeah, or who feel like you have missed your chance, who feel like, how come Michelle Yeoh can break through, but I cannot? Then I think that's where like what I took away from this discussion
Yes.
is the mindset. So
Yeah.
yes, like Dawn highlighted all the negative factors and all the limitations, they will always be there. You cannot change it. But recognize that so does everyone else. Even the young have the same set, not the same, have difficulties
Odds
as
stacked
well.
against them
yes,
too.
also odds.
Yeah.
Just that it comes in a different form. So embrace what you have, the strength that you have, the weaknesses or limitations. Just if you can, then try and overcome it. If you can't, then just ignore it. It doesn't have to factor into what you're building, right? And then more importantly, it's the mindset. Yeah, it's always the mindset. You can know, and I like how you say, keep looking for evidence that justify and reinforces that positive mindset because
Exactly.
later on it will really translate into
And
your
there's a
growth.
saying that you are the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. So take a look at the people you'll be hanging out with, because as you get older, right, you sometimes hang out with people who face the same problems with you, and you notice that every time you hang out with them, you're always talking about your problems, bitching
Only
about
complain,
things.
no
then stop hanging out with
solutions.
them, because not that they are right or wrong. We're not about the game of right or wrong, but that it doesn't serve you, especially if your aspiration and your ambition is you still want to make the best out of the last 10, 20 years of your golden years. Start hanging out with people who are younger to give you the energy, or start hanging out with people who are same age with you but are successful. Then
That's
they're
why
going
he
to
hangs
influence
out
you.
with us.
Yeah, we're younger.
Absolutely. No, I'm serious. It's true. They make it as a joke, but it is actually true.
No. Wait. I think that was an interesting point because I live in a uni town.
Okay.
Right. So I live in a uni town and I love it because it's so young.
Mm.
So happening. It's like, wow, all the latest brands will come here, all the newest things will come here because they want to reach the young, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's very fresh, right? There are a lot of random ideas. People play board game at McDonald's, they hang out around, like they don't have a lot, but they use what they have to make it work, right? So I think that's the beauty of hanging out with the young. I think there's some element of that which is really interesting.
Your
very cool.
environment plays a part.
Yeah,
Your
yeah.
environment trumps your willpower.
Yeah.
But your willpower can trump your environment. Or
That's
you
where
change
your
your
mindset,
environment.
Your
Yeah.
environment, but if you're in a bad environment, then of course it will give you negative mindset, right?
Yeah.
But I want to push on that part because I think as we get older, our needs get more complex, right? So our needs get more complex. We don't just need a cheerleading team around us. Okay, well, we don't just need a pacer pack that we move along together, right? Sometimes we need friends that come in all forms, and I enjoy having a bunch of people that I rent together, and I tell them openly, today we're here just to rent. Right, like we're not here to find a solution, and I think it's okay, right? So, and to me, that is the requirement as you age, in order to be successful to the next level. Because we have established that if you want to be successful when you're younger, some sort of hard work, a little bit of a strategy here and there, it's fine, right? Because you're single, you're alone, you don't have kids, you're moving along, your goals are quite simple, just to make more money, right? Or like move up the corporate ladder. It's not that complicated. But as you move up, right, your goals, they stack also, right? Oh, I want good family life. I want to take care of my parents. I want to, have kids.
I want to succeed and make money.
Yeah. Yes.
It's a lot of N.
Yes, there's a lot, and it rarely reduces. I would argue that there is a place where you max out on that N. Like you cannot go any more N already because it's inhuman. It's not possible unless you kind of outsource some of those things, right? But at that level, then you have to taper. But I don't think most people are there yet, right? And assuming that you're not at the max out of the N, that means your goals are actually physically and humanly possible. Okay, then the things that you need around you, the friends that you need around you, the people that you need around you, right, needs to be separated in their function. Right, like I need that people that we just gather and hey, don't talk to me about work. I'm just here to like gossip. And I think that's perfectly fine. And I need that bunch of people that, we're hustling together. We're in the same space. We know what we're trying to do. We share insights. We trade. We share secrets. Hey, this happening, that's happening, blah, blah, blah. Have you seen that?
Your comrades.
And so our comrades. Then we have that guys to kind of push us along. And then we have that bunch of people that play tennis together that every day, Sunday morning, they just play tennis together. And it's like, yo, how's your day? Right? That kind. And then you have to have no other discussion other than tennis.
Yep. Just to take your mind off things.
Yeah. And I think that's a nuance that people need to have as you move towards achieving complex goals. Your strategy needs to evolve as you move along. And it needs to get more complex because you're trying to achieve more things at once.
Yep.
Right?
And your friends may not always give you everything that you want in a single person.
Yeah, and Reggie gave a very good framework also. I see, talk about he doesn't like frameworks, but if you think about it, right, we just
I don't like other people's frameworks, just saying.
We just established that we are the average of the 5 people we hang out with, right? But it's also important what type of people we should be hanging out with. So we already established we need to hang out with people who are younger than us, who think very differently from us, who are born different from us, because they give us energy and they give us creative ideas, which is very important for innovation. We also need to hang out with people who are at the same age with us or at the same life stage with us, because we need comrades, we need partners in crime to pace us, to run with us, to have emotional support, and to be able to also kind of talk about our problem, because only you understand because we're going through the same.
Yes.
But the last piece is important, and that is you also need to hang out with people who are more successful than you, wiser than you, because they will tell you the truth. Because I realize that as you get older, there's lesser and lesser people who will tell you the truth, because it's just not worth it telling you the truth, because they would be afraid that it will offend you, and you're already a person of a certain caliber. They will not say it. And that's usually that's our downfall, the mark of our downfall. So it's also important that regardless of how old you are, you should still hang out with people who are older than you, wiser than you, because they will also be guiding you and mentoring you.
Or it could
3 groups
be
of people.
The last group might not necessarily be older than you, because if like you're in your 60s, it's a bit hard to find someone in the 80s to criticize you and give you that kind of mentorship. But recognize that might come from someone who's younger than you.
But wiser.
Younger but wiser.
Or can tell you the truth.
Yeah, correct. And then like not letting your age become like your your ego
Yeah.
in
Yeah,
hindering you
so
from
true. Age is just a
receiving that kind
number.
of feedback and improvement.
You think about it, we don't want to take any credit for being 40. Okay, maybe it's that we because now with the health, what health conditions getting better, actually it really doesn't take much credit. I think the credit should not be, oh, you're 60 years old, so I respect you by default because you're 60. But that, people should respect you because of your achievements, the impact that you make, and your character. So if I'm telling myself that too, that as I get older, I must remind myself to, don't think that because I'm 50, therefore I expect people to respect me. And when that happens, you create an environment where people will work with you, share with you the truth, and the chances of you succeeding will also go up a lot.
You know what I think needs to happen for part of this whole cultural perception to change? I think the media needs to put more leading men and ladies in leading roles of older people.
Oh,
Most
and
of the shows that you watch, the films and all, aren't the leading people, their prime, the youth.
starting. Case in point, Hong Hui Fang.
Oh.
Oh my God, I was so touched when I watched the TikTok video about Hong Hui Fang. And Hong Hui Fang said that her peak was at the same time with Zoe Tay back then when she was young.
Yeah, she was the one of the
青春一二三, right?
Oh, I don't know that show actually. I don't know.
So she was there. And she peaked, Zoe peaked, but Zoe went up, right? And then suddenly the world forgets her and she felt that she felt doubtful about herself. But she told herself, since I love the craft, I've just got to work quietly for the next opportunity. And I mean, and that's the thing, you see, there's always a season for everything. So when the spotlight is not on you, it doesn't mean that it's the end of your day. It's just your time is not, it's not your time yet, but keep working on accumulating resources, building up the skills. She said that if not for that quiet time where she was really working on a craft, even when that Korean show came up, she would not have been ready for that show. Opportunities will always come knocking at our door at different times of our age. That's not a problem. It's never about the opportunity. It's when it comes knocking at your door at whatever age, are you ready?
For it.
Yeah, but when things are not going well and you're bitching and you're not working on your skills, then later on when the opportunity comes, you'll still not shine.
Yeah.
And Hong Wen Fang just had that break. Same with Michelle Yeoh. Michelle Yeoh said that this script was written specially for her. It's designed for her because it was everything that she has learned at her entire acting career. It's as if like all the dots connect.
Yeah, at first was Jackie Chan. I
But
think.
Jackie Chan didn't want that role,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So that is also
It's
serendipity in itself.
serendipity,
Yeah.
but that's luck. But we can't control luck. And you know what causes us stress? What causes us stress is trying to control things that we can't control.
Yep.
So we can't control opportunities. We can't
can't
control
control our
luck.
age.
We can't control our age. So we control the things we can control. It gives us sanity. We control our mind. Since you got to tell yourself something, want to tell yourself something positive, we can control our environment and we can control the time that we spend mastering our skills. Then when opportunity comes, it will be serendipity moment for us. It will be a beautiful, glorious moment for you.
I would argue that you can control many other things, but that's for
And that's
another
great.
show.
If
Yeah,
you-
yeah,
that's
it's
for
true.
another
That's great.
That's for another thing. You
Yeah.
can, but it's not immediate control, right? You cannot do it on your own. You can organize. You can do some things. Collective bargaining. There are many other ways to go about controlling rather than, because I feel like sometimes in the whole like personal development space or in a lot of the discussion, it's always about the individual. Like you alone, but actually the space matter. How do you kind of like balance some of these things? And it's great that there's a cultural shift, right?
And that's great what Reggie said, because if like now this information that you just shared is accessible to us, the mass audience, now we have even more confidence to be successful in spite of our age.
So to wrap up, don't limit yourself with a scarcity mindset, with a, what's the opposite of growth?
Fixed mindset.
With a fixed mindset, there's always opportunities. It will come knocking on your door. And I think like just have faith that the universe, that the world will eventually recognize you. You just need to keep working at your craft.
Yes, I love that.
And opportunity will
you can
come.
read this book called Alchemist, but he's going to hate it. Because Alchemist got this beautiful quote. When you want something so bad enough, the entire
universe
world
will give it to you.
conspire to make it happen for you. That's the key message of Alchemist, the book.
It's a story.
Yeah. Yeah, roll eye now.
It's a story.
Cue Reggie.
It's not real,
rolling eye.
okay? but I understand the whole idea of serendipity and all that, and I hope all the best, right? So, regardless of your age, I think don't give up on your life. I think that's important.
Well said.
Yeah.
Happy hustling.
And
加油.
who knows, you'll be the next Michelle Yeoh.
Yes.
Yeah. Come on our show. Michelle Yeoh, you come, okay? I'm waiting for you.